Hello and welcome to today's video. I forget what day we're on of what I call the Corona Chronicles, but basically I'm doing a live video. I'm trying to do one every single day for the whole duration that we're all stuck at home. So that wasn't very nice. If you're new here, my name is Brandy, and today I'm going to be taking a shedding blade to a whole bunch of, well, to everybody in my herd, basically. So the only horses I don't have out here are Miss Kitty and Rosie, and that's because they're up in my arena. So I'm gonna walk around, I'll talk about each of the horses' personalities a little bit and go over them with my trusty shedding blade, and I have a metal curry in my pocket. So thank you all for joining in. Okay, so I think we're gonna start with Miss Blossom. And I hope this, I have a little tripod that my phone is on. Blossom's got, how weird her hair is. She gets some, her whole coat used to be like this where it was really long and kind of stringy, but now she's got kind of half and half. So I think it's diet related, but Blossom loves to be brushed pretty much more than anything. She's one of the friendliest horses you could possibly find. And she's just so kind. Everything about her is so kind. But yeah, I'm kind of wishing I had something to keep this away from my face a little more. So I might want to walk up and grab I have a selfie stick that might be easier. But I like this because I can set it down if I need to. So, cool, Roxanne. Glad you could join in on your 5-minute coffee break. I kind of wish I had some coffee right now. I could use a little afternoon pick-me-up. Yeah, brushing horse, look at Blossom. She's like, oh my gosh, that feels so wonderful. You know, all these horses, I feel so bad for them right now because they're used to being brushed so often by the gazillion kids that I have out in my barn. And now they're just kind of hanging around and not getting brushed, really not getting ridden much. I can only do so much in a day. So if I didn't have the program that I have, I wouldn't have this many horses. So I wouldn't have a reason to have quite so many horses. But see how her coat on her rear end is really nice and short, but everything else is long. Nakona's jealous. She's like, I would like a little scratch, she says. Hello, Germany. Thanks for joining in. It's so cool on these live chats too. I love to see where everybody is coming from. I think that is so cool. So I really appreciate you guys chiming in and saying where you're from. That's pretty awesome. And if you're watching this after the live is done, if you're not sure how to view all of the comments that go on during the chat, all you have to do is click on, there's a little icon under. Sorry about that, guys. I just had a phone call come in. Whoopsie. But anyway, if you're not video that says live chat, you just click on that and then you can read all the comments as they came up on the screen. So Blossom, say hi to the people. She's like, scratch me down here. So Blossom is one of my personal horses. I'll just kind of talk a little bit about each one as we go. And Blossom is, oh, hello, this is Nakona. Hello, Sweden. Oh, I'm sorry that if somebody said that it's referring really, I apologize if it's not working out for everybody. I usually have pretty good luck where I'm standing. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here and you guys tell me if it's okay over here. All right, can you guys hear me better here? How's it working out right here? Yes, okay. So I think it might be problematic for me to be where I was standing because there's the barn in the way. So I'll wait and see there. I'll brush Ona since she came to me. She's like, I'd like a turn. So I'll try this right here. So I'll move on to Ona. So Ona, she loves attention and she loves to be groomed. She's not gotten a ton of attention or a ton of grooming, I can tell you that much. So she's my youngster. She's 4. She'll be 4 this summer. And I'm not riding her yet. We have a lot of work to do before we'll be at that point. So, and if you're not familiar with Ona, I do have some videos of her in her playlist. So you can go and check that out and see her story. But she is the most challenging horse that I own, and the most challenging horse that I probably ever have owned. Well, I had one that was pretty difficult, but this one it's difficult in a different kind of way. The other horse that I had, he was the only horse that I ever gave up on, ever. So that was hard for me to do, but it was reality. It's what it came down to. I had to make a choice. So I had to get rid of this horse because I could not fix the problems that I was encountering with him. Boy, she's really shedding. Hello, Germany. I can't wait to take a brush after Muffin. Oh my gosh, she's gonna be shedding so bad. But yeah, so Ona she's from the Freilich Ranch in North Dakota, and she is just an awesome, awesome mare. She's put together so nice. She has an amazing personality, and she's just a really cool horse. Hello, Canada. Thanks for joining. Oh my goodness. She's like, thank you. I love that so much. Hello, North Carolina and Arizona. Thanks for joining. So tell me, are your horses shedding this bad right now? Are they shed out already where you're from? I like a horse that likes to be groomed. I don't like to necessarily spend a ton of time grooming my horses because I'd rather spend my time working with them versus grooming. But the horses that enjoy it, it's really fun to work on that. It's just a really good way to bond with your horse. Just got a little mark there. You guys remember when she, did you guys see the video about when I introduced her to the herd and how her lip was, or her nostril almost got bit off? It looks pretty good now, if you can see that. She just has a tiny little scar, so it's really no big deal. They love, the horses love when I walk out with a shedding blade because they're all like, yay, we're getting brushed, this is great. So, and it's cute because they'll all just kind of try to groom each other. If you see horses that are standing by each other and they'll scratch each other's backs. You heard the expression, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's where that comes from. Oh, and Sally came over to say hi. So we'll, how old is she? How old is Ona? Ona is gonna be 4 in June or July. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the first super chat. That's so kind of you. OTTB love. It's kind of weird to not say like a name. You should email me and let me know what your name is. send me your story. I would love to hear that. So it's been really fun to read everybody's stories and hear what everybody has to say. It's just awesome. I've been enjoying it very much. I've gotten some very nice emails. It's very interesting to hear about all of you. Since you guys know so much about me, I like to know about my viewers. Somebody asked what Ona is going to be trained for. I don't know, whatever she wants to do. So I do get a ton of emails, Marie. I do get a lot. So as long as everybody's understanding in my response that, you know, it might take me a while. And I mean, realistically, there's probably some that I'm not going to be able to get to, and especially the longer this goes. But I do enjoy hearing from everybody. So I kind of try to, oh, thank you, Lori. That is so nice of you. That's awesome. I try to give myself a little time in the morning and the evening to respond to emails, and I try to like set a time limit, and then I get through as many as I can and then I stop. But I do really enjoy reading them. You guys really lift me up, and that's awesome. So it's really nice. But so going back to what Ona is going to be trained for, somebody asked about that, and so I just ride. That's all I do, is I just ride. And I try to prepare horses for any discipline that they could end up doing. So I just moved away from Ona, and she's like, no, come back. You must brush me more. So, and Ona has been started, I don't even want to say that. Yes, Ona has been started, so to speak. I hauled her to a colt starting clinic. That's actually why I got her. And she did have 4 rides on her by Buck Brannaman's assistant. I was not willing to get on her. So she has had a rider on her back, but she is definitely not trained by any means. So it was and that's a whole nother story that I'll tell you guys about at another time. But I wasn't comfortable getting on her with how incredibly athletic and bronky she is. So I left that to somebody who is a little bit more comfortable getting on one that's got as much buck as she does. I've started, you know, I don't know, 40, maybe 40 colts, but the ones that I've started have been pretty easy. All right, so I'm gonna move on to the next. Oh, who's next? Looks like it's Petra. Petra, are you next? Ona's like, no, don't stop brushing me. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for joining. Okay, so a little bit about Petra. Oh, if I can get, excuse me. A little bit about Petra. Petra is, I think she's gonna be 9 this year. And she is a quarter horse. She does not have papers. I did not get her papers. I bought her, I saw a picture of her on Facebook. A friend of mine had her. And, hi Laura. So, I saw a picture of her on Facebook. And this was right after, if you guys know Danny the horse girl, her horse Doc, Docaho is his real name. I had Docaho, and I sold him. And so I had a spot open in my pasture, and I just felt like Docaho was one of my best lesson horses. Everybody loved him so much, but I just felt like he wasn't happy. And I wanted to give him a girl of his own, basically, or a boy. But I just knew that he would be perfect for a kid, and he was actually born and raised on Danny's farm. But then, you know, they sold him, and my mom actually started him as a 3-year-old, and then he just kind of sat and really didn't do anything for quite a few years, and then I bought him. So, but I sold Doc to Danny, and I'm like, I've got this extra spot in pasture, and I wasn't planning on filling it, but that's just kind of how it always happens. But Petra, I just saw this picture of her, and this is how I am, you know? Like, I've never gone to actually, like, look at a horse or like go try out horses. I've never done that for myself. I've gone with plenty of clients and helped them pick a horse, but I've never done that. So I actually bought Petra without even going to look at her. I just gave my mom a check. My mom was going to the area where Petra was at. She was about an hour, a little over an hour from me. So my mom had a meeting nearby. And so I sent my mom with a check, and she took her horse trailer and she went and just looked at her, made sure that she wasn't lame or anything like that. And I knew the gal that had her, or the one that was working with her. She wasn't the actual owner, but I knew the gal that had been riding her. And so I trusted her, and I bought her without even looking at her. So that's just kind of how it goes. But gosh, she just had this face on her. She actually reminded me a lot of my horse Poco. And it was just the right time to bring in a youngster. So she was only 4 at the time. Now she's 9. She's been here for 5 years. I can't believe it's been that long already. And she's just been a really great addition. Now, I was kind of planning on her just being for me, for starters anyway. And that's what I did. I spent 4 years with her. So she was my personal horse for 4 years. And then I think I've said it a lot, but she has something called PSSM, polysaccharide storage myopathy. And she needs a lot of exercise, okay? And I wasn't able to give her as much exercise as she really needed. So I turned her into a lesson horse, and she really is super, super awesome for lessons. Everybody loves her. And I mean, how could you not? Look at that cute face. She's like, keep brushing me, and Ona's annoying. Petra's like, get her away. So, but Petra's like, she's like a mother hen, okay? That's the best way I can explain her, is she's like, oh, that's awesome. Get the little itchy spots. See how her eyes are kind of closing? So, but she's just kind of like, she never acted young. She's always been kind of an old soul. And she really is great for lessons. So it was nice so that I could get a solid 4 years of riding in on her before I turned her into a lesson horse, because she really retained that information very well. Everything that she was taught, she retained it very, very well, where the horses that I've only spent a few months on, it's so hard for them to adjust to being a lesson horse and having all those new riders, where Petra went a long time having one rider, having it be very clear, this is what this means. And so she's a little bit more understanding of mistakes, I guess. You know, the first couple of, you need to go, Ona, get. I like a horse like that, though, one that just wants to be around you. And she's not, there's nothing about her is, Ona is very kind. She is 100% kind. So I don't mind her being around me, because she is a very kind horse. So, but I don't need her to be up in my space when I'm trying to do something. So, Petra, the first couple of months, her transition to being a lesson horse was a little bit tricky, and she did pick up a few habits, but it didn't take long for that to go away. Now she's really, really good. So I'm pleased. So now the next one that I've got here is Lucky. Hey, buddy. Lucky is my one-eyed pony. And Lucky is, oh, I don't know, he's about, and then there's Muffin. Muffin's like, brush me, brush me. Lucky, I think, is 18. Maybe he's 19. So I'm starting on the side where he has an eye. I always try to start off on that side. It's just good. And he can see what's going on. He can be kind of a little grouch. Lucky is a Welsh pony, and he lost his eye in some sort of a pasture accident when he was young. Okay, buddy. And now I got Petra trying to get in on the action here too. She's like, don't stop. She's like, I liked that. So, and Lucky's eye is very, if you can see that, it's gone. And there's actually a glass ball underneath there. So whoever did the surgery really did a nice job. So it looks, you can't even tell until you like actually look at it and realize, oh, there's nothing there. But he still has eyelashes and everything too, so it's pretty cool. Petra, be nice. So they're all jealous. They all want to be brushed. But Lucky is big enough where, now I'm not, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, I think, and I've been talking with some people via email about it, but about what size is appropriate for you to ride. And Lucky's about 500 pounds, and she scared me. Maybe I did have too much coffee today. Oh, there goes Lucky. So I guess he's done. Who's next? Let's go for Muffin. Hopefully the service is okay here. But so with Lucky, I have ridden him. It's not something that I would do often, but when he's having some issues and needs to be worked through, I need to be able to get on him and correct those issues, okay? Or maybe teach him new things, whatever. Because, you know, he goes through little spurts where he wants to dump people off. And I need to be able to let him know that that's not okay and work through those things. So Lucky's about 500 pounds, and I'm anywhere from, here I am telling the world my weight, I'm anywhere from 130 to 150 at the heaviest, I guess. So the amount of weight that I am, he can carry me just fine. So, but that's without any tack. You know, I'm just on him bareback, and he does just fine. Now, would I ride him all day like that? No, but if I put a 15-minute ride on him, it's not a big deal at all. So, but a lot of people, like if I put a video out there of me riding Lucky, oh my gosh, would I get blasted with hate, because people are like, you're way too big for him. And if I were too big for him, he would tell me. I would know that, hey, this is not working out. But yes, I do look silly on him, but he can physically carry my weight without an issue. So, you know, it's just kind of like, well, there's things that I need to do to correct on him, and that's just how it is. Like I said, I'm not going to ride him all day. But now Muffin, let's talk about Muffin a little bit. Hey, now you cannot be rude. Go. There, so I'll let her know that that's not okay. So Muffin is rocking a serious beard. So I'm going to chase her off because she's getting too in my space. She's not allowed to chase off the horses that I'm trying to brush. Yuck. I should have worn a mask to do this. There's manure flying everywhere. I'm getting all hot now. But now Muffin, she is 20, and Muffin is, she is a Welsh quarter horse cross. Her mom was a little gray Welsh pony, and her dad was I think he was a bay quarter horse, and he was a reiner, very athletic horse. That's all I know about him. Muffin was an accident because I believe the stud got loose. And she originally belonged to a stock contractor for rodeo and was sold to some people that I know in our area. And Muffin, when she arrived, she was pretty fat. And the people that had bought her went out to see her one day, and all of a sudden there was a baby. So Muffin does have a foal somewhere. So they had no idea that she was pregnant. So I don't know how that all happened, but, well, I don't know how. So the same thing happened to Muffin that happened to her mother. So apparently they need better fencing or something, because if their studs are getting out, that's a problem. But so Muffin has something called PPID. Some people also know it as Cushing's disease. And so if you want to look it up, look up PPID in horses. And she's on a medication called Prosend that really helps. Her energy level is really good now since she's been on that. I want you to look Look at all that hair hanging off of her belly. I love brushing that stuff off. It probably feels so good to her to get rid of all that. She's like, thank you. Oops. She's like, thank you so much. Sorry, Muffin. Didn't mean to pull your belly hair. So, but Muffin came to me, she came to me as a training horse, and I don't know whatever happened to her foal. They sold it. So it's around, probably around my area somewhere, but I don't know. I heard that the foal looked just like her. So, but I've never seen it or anything. I'm gonna switch to my curry now because she's got, I'm gonna switch to this brush because she's got some like crusty stuff on her. I'm gonna try to get off. So Muffin came to me for training because she was pretty, you know, she was kind of titled as naughty, and she kept bucking off the little girl that owned her, who was, I think, 7 at the time. So I had her for a couple months of training and found all kinds of things about her. She just didn't know anything. And that's where, you know, you guys will hear me say over and over again, wait to buy your kid a horse, get them in lessons, lots and lots and lots and lots of lessons before you consider buying them a horse, because they need to know things. So Muffin was very green, and Carly is the one that owned her, and Carly is the one that I did a video about who was applying for the Wrangler job. Carly's been with me for many years now. So, but that's how I met Carly, is from Susan. I'm reading yours right now. So, yes, Susan, I do work with Buck Brannaman. I ride in his clinics as often as I can, and I've been doing that since 2013 was my first clinic with him. But so anyway, prior to that, I spent several years riding with Lee Smith, and that's how I kind of came across Buck, is through Lee Smith. But so going back to Muffin, after I put a couple months of training on her, Carly rode her, and she had a really hard time. Carly had a hard time getting over the fact that, you know, she was still afraid of Muffin because she was young and she didn't have, you know, this poor little girl didn't have the experience that she needed. So, I mean, I got along with this pony great. I loved her. I would have taken her in a second at that point had I had a reason for another pony. So they took the pony home after the girl had a couple lessons on her, and she just really didn't want to ride her. And I don't blame her at all. You know, that's really scary for a kid at that age. You know, that's the age my daughter is now. And I think about, you know, if she was on a pony that was not doing anything that she was trying to do, it would get really frustrating. So they tried to sell her, and nobody wanted her. I think they sent her home with a couple of, excuse me, my throat's really dry now from brushing all the dust. So they sent her home with a couple different people, and like people would take her and try her out, and they brought her back. So they called me kind of in a, you know, kind of desperate to find a home for this pony because it just wasn't working out. So they offered to give her to me. And the way I am, I had, you know, they had offered her to me for sale at first before they tried to sell her outright to anybody else. But I just really, I couldn't really justify getting another horse at that time. So I turned it down, and then they tried to sell her. But so when she called me and said, look, you can have this pony, we don't know what else to do, I felt really bad for him. And look who came over next. And so I said, well, I have to talk to my husband, and I have to figure, you know, make sure that I can afford it, for one, and that it's going to be a good business decision. So, and the way my husband is, I had to come up with all kinds of, you know, proof, you're not allowed to bite me, like, to show him, yes, this is a good business decision. So I came up with all that stuff, and yes, it was a good idea for me to bring Muffin into the program. It was a good way for my business to grow, because of course she would be a lesson horse. And I need to use a shedding blade on him, not a curry. And I brought Muffin home. And then I felt pretty guilty about, like, you know, they paid me to train this pony, and I felt pretty bad that, you're not allowed to push on me. I felt pretty bad that I was just like getting this pony for free. So I offered, I said, well, how about we do an exchange, in exchange for lessons. He was just kicking at his belly. So if you wonder why I just kind of jumped, I clearly had too much coffee today. I'm jumpy. He's like, oh, that feels fabulous. But so I gave her some free lessons in exchange. So, and the thing is I had Carly take every single lesson on Muffin. And by the time she was all done with her lessons, she was really, really sad that she sold Muffin. But you know, I told her it's okay, because I will have Muffin more than likely for life, because that's how I am. And I said, you can ride her anytime. And so Carly was a major part of my program for a really long time. And you know, she's went off to school and stuff now and is on to real life things, but she rode Muffin for many years. And it was really great because it was a way for her to learn. You know, she just didn't take it as a bad experience and leave. We worked through all the problems, and that's the biggest thing for me, is you work through it. If you got a problem or something's hard, you work through it, period. Hey, Sally. So it was awesome, and she learned so much from that experience, and Muffin has just been the best lesson pony. And Muffin is big enough, I can ride her no problem. I actually competed on her a little bit one year when I didn't really have a horse to barrel race. I used Muffin and had the best time with her. So she's a very fast pony, so she's a lot of fun. Oh, I know, that feels so good, doesn't it? Manzer thinks that this shedding process is pretty awesome. He's getting so tall, all of a sudden, my gosh, his butt is really tall. His butt is up to my chin. It's crazy. Him and Bear were playing the other night. It was so funny to watch those boys. Oh my gosh. They had the best time. So in Manzer, I think most people know Manzer's story. I don't really need to talk about him a whole lot, do I? Does anybody have any questions about how much taller will he get? I don't really know. His mom is 15.1 1/2, and his sire is a little bit smaller than that. So I can't imagine he'd be too big, but you just really never know. Oh, he's just yuck. He is gross. You are gross, little buddy. I'll show you guys his backside here. I don't know if you remember when he was born. He's standing kind of funny, but you see how nice and straight he is now? When he was born, see, now I always block myself because I don't want him coming up to me and thinking that I'm one of his playmates. So he knows, he's reminded all the time, and that's all I have to do is just kind of block. But you don't want to wait until it's too late and they already nibble on you and then try to correct it, because that just doesn't work. So you always want to redirect them. You see people, their horse will bite them and they'll turn around, they'll like wait and then turn around and smack them, and that just doesn't work out. They don't learn good from that kind of stuff. It has to be instantly. I'm gonna walk over to Sally, I think. I hope you guys, if you guys start to not be able to hear me very well, let me know. So back to Manzer's legs though, if you saw his birth video, if you haven't followed his journey, you gotta go and check out Manzer's whole story. The whole thing was just a total trip for me. But you'll see, he came out, he was so bent, and that's called windswept. So it was not a conformation flaw or genetic issue, anything like that. He was simply really, really big, crammed into a small spot, and so he came out bent. And, you know, a lot of people don't think about stuff like that. So like Annabelle, the horse I was riding yesterday in my life, she prefers to bend to the right. And so for her, you know, you think about that stuff. that horse probably has been like that her entire life, and she probably, you know, it's probably from how she was in the womb and the way that came out, because every horse has one side that is, we call it a stiff side and a hollow side. So a side where they're a little bit more bendy than the other, and you know, so I don't blame them for that. I just understand that they all have a right side or a left side. See how I'm paying attention, and I'm ready to block him if I need to. And if I'm taking this thing and I'm flinging it around and he runs into it, that's his problem, not mine. So he had the choice not to bump his nose into it. So I will not allow him to climb all over me or bite me or anything like that. It's not okay. All right, I'm gonna move over to Miss Sally. Hey, girl. Now I might need to follow her around for a minute because she doesn't like when I have stuff in my hands. So, hey, Sal. So I'll turn you guys, here, why don't I turn you around so you can see? My indoor riding arena is 60 by 120. Oh. Okay, Sally. She's like, oh, okay. She's like, that's all you wanted was to brush me. She says, I can take that. And here comes a little stinker. Yeah, you need to go. Manzer. I'm gonna turn this back around. I'm so excited that I figured out how to turn the camera around. I mean, I knew you could do that with a camera when taking like pictures and videos, but I didn't realize that you could do it well doing live. And I think it's pretty cool. How many pastures do I have? I have 2 pastures. One for my boarders, one for my horses. You get a mini mule named Bob. Aw, that's cute. That's a perfect name for a mini mule. Oh, Sally, your head's full of poop. Sally gets really matted up around her ears. All of her ear hair gets all kind of tangled. Sally loves to be brushed. She's a very itchy critter. Very itchy. Good girl, Sal. She loves to be brushed. So the first thing she does when she comes in a stall, is she rolls a lot of times. So somebody asked about meeting the boarders' horses. Maybe I'll introduce a couple of them here and there, but they're not my horses, so it's really not my place to include them. So maybe if they're doing something funny or whatever, but besides that, they're not part of my program. I know Danny wants me to talk about Diego one of these days because she misses him. So she wants him to be included in one of my videos. Hi, Jordan. Who's breeding? Sally's breeding? The mules? I have no idea. She's a horse and a donkey. No. So I'm gonna let Manzer know. I'm gonna just put this up here and I'm going to bump right there until he leaves. There, you see how he left? He got the hint. So, but I'm not gonna let him keep, that's what horses do. They push into each other. And, you know, when you watch the boys fight, or not fight, they're playing, Bear and Manzer, they just go at each other until one of them leaves, okay? And so that's how it is. So if I'm creating pressure and he's ignoring that pressure, I'm going to keep it there until he finally is like, okay, I should probably leave. That's how you prevent them from thinking that they can jump on top of you, because that's a pretty common thing for a young horse to try to do, is to rear up and jump on you. Hi, Lucy. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Yeah, everybody's dirty here. All right, let's see. Who's next? Oh, let's go over to Annabelle next. You guys got to meet Annabelle yesterday, but how many am I at now? How many have I gone through? So Sally, maybe if you guys want, I can bring her in one of the next, I don't know, this week or something, and show you like some groundwork with Sally and how she goes, if anybody's interested in that. Annabelle's a little crusty from yesterday's ride. She's like, oh, that feels so good. Oh. I'm actually gonna switch and use the Curry because Annabelle is a horse that I would consider blanketing in the future. She has really thin skin, and same with Cinnamon. Those two really are very sensitive, and so they're ones that in the future may end up being blanketed on occasion because it depends on the type of weather that we're having. Like a couple years ago, we had a really harsh winter, and I was pulling horses in pretty often, letting them hang out in stalls. But it's very uncommon for me. Oh gosh, something just flew right in my eye. Hold on, guys. I'll let you look at Annabelle like dig some crud out of my eye. Hi, Nakona. Okay, yuck. Pretty sure that was poop. I got poop in my eye. Yuck. Oh well, it happens. So, but anyway, you know, I don't blanket my horses. Miss Kitty's first horse I've ever had in my entire life that I've had to blanket. And it's strictly because I was really worried about her with her losing weight, and I didn't want her to get cold. And the day that I blanketed her was the day that she got stuck in that hole that I had shown you guys a couple times. And when she came in, she was shivering because she was stuck in the snow and couldn't get up. So I'm like, okay, she has to be blanketed because if she's gonna go down and not be able to get up, I gotta make sure that she can stay warm and protected from the cold. So that's when I first blanketed her, and she's been blanketed ever since, because I feel like once you put it on, you kind of got to leave it there, because when you take the blanket off of her, I've taken it off a few times to brush her and stuff, but she really, her coat has flattened down. Like, she looks like she's got a summer coat basically. So blanketing a horse really does like mess with their coat. So when you blanket horses, you really got to do it in a manner that is like, you got to pay a lot of attention to what you're doing. You gotta take them off and groom them and make sure that they don't overheat and make sure everything is how it needs to be. Nakona is getting very jealous now. See, they're all like, me next, me next. So Annabelle, if you want to know more about her, I talked about her quite a bit in yesterday's video when I was riding her. She's such a sweetheart. One of the common questions that people were asking is if I ever ride her bareback. I ride her bareback all the time. She's really great to ride bareback. I don't have any issues at all. She's very smooth, actually. She moves great for being such kind of weird combination of horses. Lucy, I would love to send you some snow. I got lots of it. I got lots and lots of snow. But it's, yeah. Who's the most comfortable horse I have? Like the smoothest ride? This girl right here. She is so smooth. And she's like sitting on a couch. She's very wide. She says, here, let me help you out. I'll shake all the air off. She's very wide, and so she's easy to just sit on without having any kind of a pad or anything like that. Very comfortable. All right, so I'm going to move on to Nakona, and I'm going to use a shedding blade on her, so I got to swap out my brushes. We live in Michigan. So Michigan, upper Michigan, has a lot of snow. Lots and lots. Yes, I pasture my boarders horses and my horses separately because my horses, I want all my horses. Thank you, Robbie. That's so, oh, that in memory of your wife. That is so kind. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So I'm so sorry. My horses, when I trailer them, they're all I trailer them in a stock trailer. Sometimes, you know, they're loose together, or they're like kind of they're right next to each other when they're trailered. So I want all of my horses together all the time. Like, it bothers me that Miss Kitty is separate right now, but I have a feeling that like it's going to be that way till the end. But other than that though, they are all together, and I have no space here between these. Like, I can't, look at, I'm moving back, I'm moving, and Nakona's following me. She's like, no, 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 it's my turn. A good indication right there. She's like, I want to be groomed, please. So my horses all need to be good with each other. And for lessons, you know, a lot of times I have 5, 6 riders at a time, and they all have to get along. They all need to know each other. And it doesn't mean they're gonna get along, but my horses all know each other, so I don't have any strangers in there. And my horses all, I know how they're gonna act with students coming out and catching everybody. And boarders horses, however, for the most part, all my boarders horses are really, really good. They really are. A lot of them are horses that I've owned or I've known for a long time. But in the past, I have had horses that I didn't trust in my boarders pasture. And I'm really fussy with who I will take for boarders. I only board to long-term students or students who are extremely dedicated. I don't board to just anybody anymore. It's just not something I'm willing to do. I require that all horses on my property be worked on a regular basis, and everybody is sort of like-minded. So when I host a clinic, you know, everybody that I've got here usually will ride with the clinicians. So it's just, it works out better for me. And there's no drama. You know, I've been at plenty of boarding stables. And well, before we bought our farm, I traveled to 17 different barns to give lessons, and you know, plenty of boarding stables in there. And then I grew up, my mom had a boarding stable, and then I managed a boarding stable for a couple years. So I have a lot of experience with boarders. And let me tell you, boarders suck in a lot of ways, but I have the best boarders. I have really amazing people here, and most of them are people who, well, every one of them. Every single horse that I have here, and I'm looking at all the horses so I can make sure that I say this right. Every single horse here, I have helped the rider choose the horse. And let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of the horses in my boarders pasture are all horses that were mine, that I sold to students who leased them. So it's pretty cool because I know the horses and riders are a really good match, and I know that the riders are going to continue to learn, and I know that they're getting matched up with the right person. And the nice thing is, you know, considering since I sold one of my horses and it's boarded at my place, I know that the horse is being cared for. So you know, I'm really fussy. Really, really fussy. So yes, I'm not saying that you guys are bad boarders by any means. I'm just saying that I've seen a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of really bad ones out there. And I just don't want to deal with any of the drama. It's just not something that I'm willing to put up with. So out here, we all have the same sort of philosophy, and everybody's been in my program forever. It's awesome. But there's definitely a demand for boarding facilities in my area. I get calls or emails or texts or Facebook or whatever. I get, gosh, a handful of messages a month anyway for people looking for places to board their horses. So there's definitely a demand. It's just not something that I'm interested in. I like to be able to do my own thing. But so in the past, like I was saying, there have been horses here who I didn't trust people going out in the pasture with, kids. So when I send people out to catch horses in my pasture, I know they're dealing with all my horses, and I know how my horses handle others, and I teach them how to handle the other horses. So I just don't want my boarders horses are to be separated completely from any of my students. That's kind of how that works. Okay, I think Nakona's done. And you guys saw a riding video of Nakona the other day, so I talked a lot about her. And look who came over next. Oh, she's gonna be really fuzzy. Nakona's still like, please brush me more. Don't stop. How can you say no to that? So pathetic. All right, off to the little itty bitty now. This one, does anybody know why minis and ponies have thicker coats than horses? Anybody? Who can answer that? There's a reason. Daisy is so fluffy. She is very, very fluffy. Hi, Nakona. So since they have smaller appendages, so like their legs are smaller, everything about them is smaller, so they need more hair because there's not as much blood flow. So they freeze easier. So yeah, that's why. I'm going to turn this around so you guys. You guys can watch her facial expression. Do I ever trim their hair? No, I really don't. I'm low maintenance. You know, I look at it as they are the way they are for a reason. So I mean, if we're showing or something, sure, you know, I'll trim up what's needed, but I really don't like clipping their hair off. You know, their whiskers are important. Oh gosh. If you're gonna be a turd, I'm not gonna look at her. Isn't she a stinker? Guys, that's why I ended up with this little thing. Nobody else wanted her. And then you getting all crabby. Daisy, I wasn't done with you. Come back. Ooh. Okay, stinker. These two are buddies. How I got Daisy? Sure. So I have a friend who's a farrier, and he says to me one day, because I had a lot of appies at one point. Now I only have one, but I had a whole bunch of them, and I sold them to students. But so he says, I have a horse that you'll really like. You gotta come take a look at. At least come with and check it out. And I'm like, okay. He said, I guarantee you'll like her. And I said, well, I don't need any more horses. And he's like, well, I get that, but you just got to come see her. Okay, fine. So I went with, and he was showing me some things about trimming anyway, so it was something to do. We get there, and it's Daisy. And she was in a pen by herself. There was another big horse, but she was separate from it. And I watched him try to trim her, and oh my gosh, you might as well have tried to trim a wild hog. She was such a naughty little thing, and she was only 3 at the time. So she was born in 2008, so I got her in 2011, and she was just plain nasty. And basically the gal who had her, I think she was kind of afraid of her. Maybe not a lot of experience dealing with, horse behavior. Because the other horse she had was good. Oh gosh, sorry guys. Nobody wants to look at horse poop, hey? So anyway, I said, well, why is she by herself? Why don't you put her out with that mare you have? Well, I don't want her to get hurt, she says. I'm like, you're worried about this little thing getting hurt where she's like tearing apart the farrier? She needs socialization. She needs to be put in her place by another horse. So anyway, that's the story of Daisy, and I went and picked her up a few days later. But yeah, she, and I heard some stories about her from the person that originally had her. The gal that I bought her from told me about some of the ways she was handled. And, just maybe not so nice. But that's still no excuse. The way she was treated when she was young did not make her the way that she is, did not shape her personality. Because a horse can be abused, okay? I've worked with several of them. They can be abused or neglected in some way, shape, or form and not have this kind of an attitude towards other horses. So this horse is just a jerk in general to other horses. But that doesn't mean that, I don't mind that. I can deal with that. I can work with her, give her a job to do, and, to me, she's usable. Now, if she were a big horse, she'd be pretty hard to get along with because she could really, hurt somebody. So I'm not, the way that she's always kicking at the other horses and stuff, if she were big, I'd be a little concerned about that. But she really is, she has a sweet side, and my daughter really likes her. But my daughter's kind of a, she's a stubborn little thing too, so she gets along with her just fine. So I just think about Daisy though, and the gal that I got her from, she genuinely wanted her to just have a good home. She really did care a lot. But, letting this little thing get away with all the crap she got away with is not okay. And like I said, I don't know exactly what her history prior to that was. I know she bought her from a breeder and just the things that she told me. But yeah, she is what she is. She pulls a cart. My daughter rides her. And I do use her for some lessons. I've got a couple of kids that really like her. So they ride her. And the way I look at it is, it costs about, heck, I could give up going to Starbucks once a month and pay for her food. It hardly costs anything to keep her. And eventually I'm hoping to have her and Rosie hooked up together to pull a cart. So they each drive separately, but now getting them to drive together is another story. But Daisy definitely isn't, she's a perfect example of, if somebody who was inexperienced had her, they could really get hurt. So the gal I bought her from, she was really worried about Daisy ending up in a home with kids. She's like, oh gosh, I just would hate for people to put kids on her, and I get that. Because people think that just because they're little and they're cute, that they'd be great for kids. Oh, perfect for kids. And so, and here, I put my kids on her. But it's different though. This is what I do for a living, is I work with horses. So I know what to do with this little horse to get her so my daughter can ride her. And there's a lot of work that has gone into her to get her to that point. So it's just different. Yeah, I have the two minis drive, and then I had a gelding, Tuffy, who drives as well, but I sold him. He's still on my property though. And I do have a playlist for driving. So if you want to go into my playlist, you'll see one that's all about driving. So all the driving videos that I have are all put in there. One of them is really fun. It's we have this drag that we use in winter, and it slides on snow really awesome. And so that's a lot of fun to do. But so it's kind of a bummer. I don't have any big horses that drive right now. I guess Sally's broke to drive, but I wouldn't personally hitch anything to her in the state that she's in. So it's going to take a lot of work to get her to that point, which I'm willing to do. And I'd like to get her to that point again, but it's just going to take some time. Look at it, crab apple. So Daisy is, if you watched my feeding, no, I have not personally ridden Sally. If you watch my feeding video from the other day, you'll see Daisy's on a supplement called Mare Ease, and that's because she does have really bad heat cycles. So that's another thing too, is there's some discomfort there, but it just doesn't. There's a lot of things with this horse that it's personality. She was spoiled and just plain allowed to be that way, and that's how it is. So the best thing for this little horse was for her to go out with a herd of other horses Because I have a lot of people say, I can't believe that you put your minis out with your big horses. Well, heck yeah, I do. Minis have the biggest attitudes. They need help, as much help as they can get from the bigger horses. Okay, let's see who else I have to brush. That's it though. You see her licking and chewing? That's a really good thing. Anytime you see a horse licking and chewing, it's good. But Daisy is a handful for, she was a handful for the vet, big handful. Look at, now she's gonna follow me around. She's like, wait a minute, that was really awesome. I don't want you to stop. So, but yeah, she used to be awful for the vet, but that's going pretty good now. She was pretty good. She gets better every year with that. And like, I can poke her with a needle and do all that stuff, but it's having somebody else, their approach. Same goes for feet and all that. I do her feet, but she used to be so naughty. She still is naughty, but she was a lot naughtier. Okay, we didn't do Nika yet, so should we head over to Nika? Let's see. Horse poop everywhere. Do I have a favorite mini? I have two minis. I have Rosie and I have Daisy. I'll just let you guess which one I would prefer. Hi, Manzer. Remember, you gotta keep your space. Look at Daisy's like, no, I'm not done yet. And now these two are gonna fight. Nika doesn't want Daisy anywhere near. She's like, you need to get out of here. Nika doesn't really put up with crap from Minnie. Nika has a really great, I love her winter coat. It's really kind of short and fuzzy. So she looks good all year round, and when she decides to let her coat go, it all comes off pretty quickly. So she's always been very low maintenance as far as grooming goes. Whoops. Is Nika losing baby weight? That's not rude. Now, if you said that to me, that'd be different. But, yeah, I mean, okay, so if you've had a baby, you understand that things just stretch out and it's just different, okay? So if she's not exercising, she would look like that for the rest of her life if I didn't exercise her. So that's what it is. So she would require a lot of work in order to get her belly to kind of tuck back up a little bit. But no, she's probably not going to really lose that whole bunch because I'm not going to ride her a ton. I got a lot of other horses that I got to focus on. So I'm okay just letting her kind of hang out. Okay, I'm going to turn this around again, guys. Yeah, trotting up hills is the best way. Works for humans too. Running up hills, trotting your horse up a hill. That's the best thing to do. But it's just a matter of, like, if I had hills that I could go trotting up, I would, you know. But for me to make that happen, it takes half my day because I got to plan for that and trailer out and okay, see this? This is a birthmark. And certain times of the year it's lighter, or like it's just kind of like the outline, and then other times of the year it's like a whole spot. So it's kind of cool. I was really wondering if Manzer was going to be born with one. Not that just because she has one means that he would get one, but Daisy's like, please just brush me again. No, Nika's really not. Somebody just asked if she still likes her back leg being scratched. No, and she was never like that before she had him. So she's really not the type of horse that likes to be fussed over. Like, she's enjoying this. When a horse stops eating and just like, you can tell this is total content. She's like, oh, it's amazing. But yeah, she's never been one to really enjoy being scratched. Occasionally, you know, she'll want her bum scratched, but it's not anything like it was before. This would be so much easier if somebody was following me around and filming me do this. Look at, I gotta take care of that. Here's something too, Nika's mane has always been like this, where it just comes out like that all the time. So I really don't brush her mane very often because it will fall out. It's been like that since she was young, and it's not like it's not exceptionally thin or anything. Stop fighting in front of me, guys, or with me in the middle. Jeepers. Not cool. Nika's like, I just want to be brushed and I don't want to deal with her. No nonsense. Yes, the birds in our area definitely, anytime you find a nest around our place, it's full of horsehair. It's pretty cool. I always let, you know, some people put the horsehair, hi Manzer, some people put all the horsehair in the garbage. I never do that. I always put it in the compost. No, you cannot. No. See, he wants to kind of push me. No, it's not acceptable, period. But yeah, so I always put it in the compost. Oh, I just fell in a grape. I just fell in that hole. Okay, this is too hard for me to brush right here. I keep falling in the hole. So Nika, you're gonna have to come here. She's like, okay, I'd gladly come there. Isn't that funny? So this is how you tell if a horse likes something. Manzer, you do not need to nurse. Oh yeah, Nika knows. She's like, I'll just come to you. You can go nurse on the other side. You do not need to be over here, bud. I'm sorry, somebody just asked about if something is feeling better. I didn't see what that was. Okay, Nika doesn't want him to nurse right now. She's like, dude, I want to be brushed. Leave me alone. See? So she is doing her own, she's working on weaning him. Okay, did I get everybody? I didn't get Cinnamon. Since Nika walked away, I'm just gonna leave her. I'll work on her a little bit more in a minute. I got these guys, so I'm gonna go over to Cinnamon. Hey, Muffin. Cinnamon. Cinnamon. She's like, what? Hey, girl. Oh, aren't you filthy? She's like, this is where I come to poop. This horse gets kind of ornery with brushing sometimes. She, I think when she is cycling, she gets sore. Oh, and now, look who came up. Isn't this funny, guys, how the horses that haven't been brushed keep coming to find me? They know. They know. Stop. Nellie's got white hair all over her face. And you guys, I'm looking right at the screen now, so if anybody's got questions, now is the time to ask me. There she is. She says, hi, Beck. I miss you. Could she get any closer? Jim, I caught a fraction of what you said. Oh. She's like, nope. Do I have any horses that are not keen on being groomed? Yeah, this is one of them. She doesn't particularly love it. Nika doesn't really like being groomed. Muffin doesn't really like being groomed. But this is different. This is their winter coat coming off. And it's, you know, they're itchy. They love this. They're like, it's awesome. She's like, nope, I don't want to be brushed there. So, crabby. Yeah, she's like, Nellie needs to leave me alone. Okay, fine. I'm done. You want more? Let's see. So if I walk over here, what's gonna happen? Is she gonna come over here and say, please brush me? Or is she gonna be like, no, no thanks? Oh, Nellie it is. Okay, that's what we do. So Jordan's talking about a horse that she has. My mom used to own High Bar Jordan, and she used to show him. I have personally given that horse quite a few baths. So it's not that he's afraid of water, it's your approach. So just think of that, because I've had plenty of people try to give certain horses a mime bath, and they're like, oh, they're afraid of it. No, they're not. It's your approach. Horses are not afraid of water. They live in it. Some horses may not want to walk through puddles, but they're unsure. They can't tell what the depth is. So if a horse has the opportunity to go around a puddle or through a puddle, they usually go around it because who knows what's living in that puddle. So that's the difference. So we need to get our horses to trust us to, you know, believe that yes, they can go through that puddle, it's safe. Nellie's like, this is awesome. Nellie has a really awesome winter coat too. It used to be very kind of scraggly looking, but it's nice now. Congratulations, Jill. Yeah, we don't know exactly what Nellie is. I would love to find out. So we're gonna try and see if we can have DNA testing done on her to find out exactly what she is. But we'll see, I've never done that before. So if anybody's got any info on getting a horse's papers, because I believe she is papered, we just don't know for sure. So I would love that. So if anybody's got any info on how to do that, what to do. Oh, Cinnamon's like, but now I want to be brushed, that you're ignoring me. No, she definitely is not Morgan. Definitely not Morgan. She's like thoroughbred, quarter horse, something like that. But I would be shocked if she was anything Morgan. I like Morgans, but doesn't give me any inkling that there's any Morgan in her. I believe she's a quarter horse. She's a quarter horse or appendix quarter horse. Definitely quarter horse in her. What do you think, Cinnamon? Now you girls don't fight with me in between. So here I am stepping in holes everywhere I go. So I try to get out of the way and I step in a hole. Stinkers. Okay, good enough for you two. Okay. Who's my biggest horse? You're looking at her. Nellie is about 15.3. She's the biggest horse I have. I had one other one that was bigger. His name was Moose. He was 16.1, I think. But he died 3 years ago. We lost him. This Cinnamon is a paint, and she is registered. I have her papers. Her registered name is City Power Bar. Who thinks up these names? So I got to go through the process of registering Hi. I'm done with you. Sorry. Banzer's over there pestering Muffin. So I have to go through the process and register Manzer. I've got a name picked out. It's a secret. I'm not telling anybody until I know that I can get it, because I don't want to get my hopes up and then not be able to get it. So when it comes time to getting him registered, and when I say it comes time to getting him registered, I mean when I like take the time, because I'm procrastinating it. So poor Bear. Bear's walking away. I'll show you in a minute. Hey, Mr. Bear. There he is. Would you like to be brushed? Okay. Sister Wendy, you're asking about a good place to get some horsehair jewelry. I would recommend Ivy McNulty is her name, and I can't remember if that's the name of, like, if her name is just her business or if she actually has a business name. I don't remember. I'll have to look, but I got some stuff from her. She's in Gunnison, Colorado. Oh my gosh, she does a beautiful job. Really, really beautiful job on everything. I was really happy with everything I got from her. Hey Bear, we call him Hair Bear. Miss Kitty's doing good today. I think I might take you up for a walk to see her afterwards. She's roaming around in my arena. He's like, oh, that's why you were following me. Yay. You guys got any questions about Bear? Oh, here comes his buddy Manzer. Oh, these two, I hope they start playing, guys. It's so funny. I watched them for a few minutes the other night, and they were just having a blast. They're both rearing up. Neither one of them are going to have any hair on their face. Susie, Bear's pedigree. I'd go polar bear. Definitely would go polar bear. Bear is Welsh crossed with something. We don't know what. He's 14 or 15-ish. That's a great question. How many hands, or what is a hand? A hand is 4 inches, approximately. And you'll hear people say that they have a 15.5 hand horse. That's not a number. Look at, see Manzer doing the little clacking thing to Blossom. But it's ringing. It goes 15 hands, 15.1, 15.2, 15.3, and then 16. So that's how it goes. Hi Lottie, how are you today? Man, I'm just gonna, he's feeling frisky. Yeah, Jim, I saved, when Poco died, I cut off as much hair as I could, and I gave a few braids of it to a couple of really special people, people that were special in his life, I guess. And I'm gonna just follow these two around because they're gonna be having lots of fun. So, but, so I gave a couple of braids away, but the rest of it I have kept. And honestly, it's in the same spot that I put it to the day that he died. I just still haven't gotten around to touching it yet because it makes me sad. So, hello, Ireland. Yeah, these boys are gonna get rowdy, I can tell. You guys get the Bear and Manzer show. I would love to have a baby out of Nakona someday. Yeah, oh, Bear is so playful. He is, like, Manzer is the best thing to come along in his life. Him and Lucky play a lot too, but Lucky's a little bit more of a cranky old man. Hi, Muffin. Nellie's definitely not a Welsh cob. So where we're at, we have like quarter horses and Arabians and paints, stuff like that. So she's more local. So she's a quarter horse. Quarter horse, maybe thoroughbred in her. That's all. So yeah, if Manzer is gelded, he'll stay in this pasture, so these guys will continue to play. You see how Manzer's eating hair? That's real smart. It's great. Have I missed anybody? Who didn't I brush yet? Daisy's still following me around. She's right here. Whoops. Can't take it off the Bear and Manzer show. And they are rough too. Somebody commented just the other day and said, you know, aren't you so worried about Manzer being out with the herd? He's so young yet, he could get hurt. Yeah, I'm not really worried about him anymore. He can fend for himself. Woohoo! I'm not gonna brush Miss Kitty. I'm not gonna pull her blanket off. It's kind of chilly today. Manzer will be a year old on May 11th. Yeah, they love to play. This has been so good. And now that I've been through the whole full situation once, I'll do things differently the next time around. First of all, Ona loves to play with these guys too. First of all, I will breed my horse. I would rather breed my horse later in the year so I can get a baby later in the year, because Manzer was born in like full-on mud season. Chloe, you can't really tell the difference between a paint and a pinto just by looking at him. Because like Bear, he's a pinto, little brown and white one. And, you know, a lot of people say, who's the paint? He's not a paint. He has no paint in him whatsoever. A paint is a breed, and a pinto is a color. So if you see a horse, like see that black and white horse over there, Diego, that one is he's a registered paint. But if you didn't know, you would say, who's the pinto? And see the brown and white one? He's a registered paint. That black and white one, Tennessee Walker. That one right there, unregistered quarter horse. So, you guys got to see what I'm dealing with here. Gosh, she won't leave me alone. She's like all up in my space. She's like, pet me, brush me. So just like, yeah, exactly, Dan. Just like Palomino. There's so many breeds that Palomino is a pretty common color. And it's just, you know, it's just what it is. It's a color. You can, I don't know if there's a Palomino registry. I don't remember now. I know there's a Bucks Horse Association, but I don't know if there's a Palomino. You could register them as a Palomino, but because there's color registries as well. So, but I just don't remember off the top of my head. I don't really keep up on that kind of stuff because I don't need to. So, and it's like my brain only has so much. My brain only has so much room for everything, and so that's just kind of stuff that I forget. I forget stuff. So I'll do videos with Ona showing her groundwork. She's like, please. I'll show you guys the process. How Moose died. You want to know? Okay, so Moose. Moose was, oh gosh, I got some videos that I can show you guys about Moose. He was a handful. He was one that somebody gave me, and I took him for a 2-week trial. And he had a lot of really good qualities, but then he had a lot of really bad qualities. And he died in 2017, November of 2017. And hey, that wasn't nice. Did you see Annabelle just come up and bite her in the butt? Could you imagine that if you just like walked up to your friend and bit him? Horses are jerks. That's just how they are with each other. They want to move each other. That's what they do. So that's why it's very important. Look, there goes another one. It's very important that you never allow your horse to move your feet, and you're always the one that is moving their feet, because if they can move your feet, then they are in charge of you. So that's and it's not about dominance or anything like that. It's strictly No, you are not allowed to move my feet, and you stand your ground. It's just not allowed to happen ever. That's how you stay safe. But so talking about Moose a little bit, he had some sort of, he was lame all the time, and we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And the vet, you know, our local vets, without taking him and having a bone scan done, there was no way to really tell where the pain was coming from. And I had spent a fair amount on vet bills with that boy, and we just really weren't getting anywhere. And I couldn't justify, I mean, he was lame just being out in the pasture walking around. He was maybe 14 or so. So I'm gonna let you guys watch Nika and Manzer in the background so you can see Manzer is still nursing. But I want you to watch because Nika was just not letting him. So she's working on weaning him herself. She's really fussy now with when and how he's allowed to eat. And this doesn't, I don't mind that he's still nursing, that's fine. He'll be weaned eventually. But so with Moose, I'd watch him out in the pasture and he was just, something wasn't right. And I wasn't willing to, you know, with something like that, we were never gonna make him comfortable again. And I had only had him, I hadn't had him for very long, and I couldn't justify dumping a ton of money into him for him to be comfortable to live in my pasture for the next 10 years because he wasn't that old, so he could have lived for a long time. He actually was related to Miss Kitty. I forget how they were related, but they were related. Like Miss Kitty's dad was Moose's grandsire or something like that. So, and now he thinks he's gonna come over and pester me and see how I'm just doing something to say, no, don't come. I mean, I could be sitting here doing jumping jacks. I have kids do that all the time. I'm like, just do jumping jacks. Do jumping jacks. And the horses will kind of step back like, what are you doing? But I don't really want him in my space, so I'll just kind of like get all like, you know, doing stuff, and then he'll stand back there and look at me like, are you crazy? So, but I do not want him up in my space, but I also don't want him moving my feet around. I would rather move his feet. So, but Petra, I don't want you fighting with him by me. So anyway, with Moose, I'm just gonna keep this to protect myself. With Moose, it was coming on November, and we were really like, okay, do we put him down? And then it was so wet that we were kind of in a pickle again, like, how do we bury this bugger? And so I was kind of out of options. And my vet suggested, hey, call Michigan State University. A lot of times they take horses to use as cadavers for teaching, so within the program. So I called Michigan, sorry for all the noise. I called MSU and got put on a list to donate him as a cadaver horse. And they, you know, they weren't sure if they were going to be able to take him, and if they did, they said it'd be a few weeks. Well, they're in November, we're coming on December. We get storms sometimes, like we can get 3 feet of snow overnight in November, no problem. So I got a call within a couple of days, and I was just shocked because it was so fast. But they're like, we need a horse to use for colic surgery, for people to learn how to do colic surgeries, and we can take him like, they wanted him like in 3 days or something. So that's what I did with him, and we drove down there, and what the plan was going to be is we were going to get to see, well, we wanted to go on a tour, and when we were on our way, the gal called us and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to give you a tour, but you know, there's other people there that can take the horse. So the thing that I had a hard time with was just like bringing him there and just dropping him off and leaving. That was really hard for me, even though, you know, I didn't have this horse very long. I didn't have like a you know, big long connection with him or anything. And the gal that leased him at the time, she came with, and she was 14 or 15, and she wanted to come and she wanted to be part of the process. So I mean, it was sad for her because she just, you know, said goodbye to her horse. She was the one that rode him the most. But so yeah, that's can you guys hear me okay? Can everybody hear me? I haven't seen any comments, so I just want to make sure that you guys can still hear what I'm saying. Anybody? Anybody? I'm gonna go back over here. Okay, if you can hear me, please comment. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay guys, anybody there? I'm feeling like I may have lost you guys. So I've seen any comments come up. So if anybody is still there, if you could please comment. I'm showing that I've got 163 people watching, but I haven't seen any comments, so I can't tell if anyone is still there. Oh, you guys can hear me. Why can't I see the comments? Well, thank you, Beck, for commenting. Or okay, now I don't understand, guys. I'm so sorry. Here I'm like, why can't I see anything? I couldn't see any comments coming through, so I apologize. I hope you heard that whole story. So anyway, now I can see what everybody's saying. So thank you for coming through and doing that. I appreciate it. But anyway, so what was strange though to me with Moose was we got there, we just put him in a stall and left. And that was very, very strange. So I didn't like that. I like to be there with animals when they pass. And okay, good. Thank you guys. I'm glad everybody heard. I'm getting bombarded with comments now. Whoopsie, technical difficulties. So that's the story with Moose. So it was hard for me to leave without like seeing what they did, but you know, at least I know that he was used for a good cause, and he was humanely euthanized the next morning after we dropped him off. And I did get quite a few thank you notes from students at MSU because you know, they were very appreciative that they had a horse like an actual horse to practice on. That was really important for them, and I would have a hard time doing that with certain horses, but like I said, with him, he was not one that I had for a long time. There's Lucky again. So it was very abrupt. I didn't like that, but I had to do something. I didn't have any other options. So the reason that I had to just drop him off and leave is because they weren't going to be euthanizing him until they were ready to use him. So it was all part of the process. So I dropped him off the night before, and so that's why it was done that way. And how I got him was the person that owned him from the time he was a baby, she was moving and couldn't take him with, or couldn't keep him, so she gave him to my program. Sure, Katie, if you want to PM me, that's fine. So Moose was able to, no, they didn't, and that's the thing that kind of bothered me too is, you know, they weren't looking for horses to find out what's wrong. He was strictly going to be used for colic surgery procedure. Like they were just going to be dissecting him basically to for educational purposes. So that's what was done with him. But it was for a very good cause, and for us it eliminated a lot of stress because we really didn't know how we were going to bury him. So, and around us we don't have the option to have like rendering trucks pick horses up or anything like that. No, they did not do any, they never found out what was his lameness. My vet assumed that he had arthritis up in his hips, but we don't know that because I would have had to do a bone scan, and that would have cost me thousands of dollars to find out what was wrong. And he was going to be lame the rest of his life. Lucky. The rescue horse I have is Nellie. And Nellie is the big bay mare that I was brushing. Somebody just asked if I was going to be able to do a live stream while trail riding. We have zero service out on our trails. So there will be no, I don't know how I would ever do that. Otherwise I would love to, but I'll do plenty of, like, I'll take my GoPro and I'll get footage that way, but I won't be able to take you guys out for a live video. Not an option. We actually have pretty bad service in our area, so I'm surprised that I can even do this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, guys, is it's time for me to go up and check on Miss Kitty. These two are gonna fight. I think I got through brushing everybody. You guys got to learn a little bit about each horse. I think we made it through everybody. No, Moose was not used as a donor for another horse as far as I know. He was strictly used as a cadaver. So they cut him open, dissect him, and talk about how to perform colic surgery. That's all I'm aware. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this around. Yeah, Petra is such a nice mare. I'm so bummed that she has PSSM because she's a mare that I would, oh my gosh, I would not even hesitate to breed her. She's so nice. And she, I don't have her papers. After I found out she had PSSM, I didn't fight to get her papers, which honestly I probably should have. And I contacted AQHA to inform them. So the more I learn about PSSM, you know, the more I'm like, okay, we need to do everything we can to stop this terrible disease in horses. So, and it's genetic. It's all through breeding. So, okay, I'm gonna take a walk up to the arena, and I typically lose service between here and there. So you guys just gotta sort of hang with me if you want to see my kitty. So let's go on up and check it out, and then we'll be done for the day. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Yeah, the PSSM deal is a total bummer, and there's actually a lot of horses who have it and people don't even realize. So it's a shame. That's why it's so important to do genetic testing. What is my plan for Manzer? To ride him. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for taking the time to watch these videos. I really appreciate that. You know, and hold on, let's turn. Okay, let's go on up and check on the girls. Girls meaning Miss Kitty and Rosie. So, there was a question that just came through that I was going to answer and I forgot it already. I have, you know, there's this thing called mom brain that you get, and it's a real thing. If you're a mom, you understand what I'm talking about, but man, forget things like that. What is PSSM? Polysaccharide storage myopathy. It's a genetic muscle disease, and it actually kind of reminds me of like diabetes a little bit. You can maintain it with diet and exercise, and so she does best when she gets ridden often. So I really need to step it up and start riding her and working working on a lot of stuff with her because I want to keep her going really well. So basically, if she goes a long period of time without being worked, I have to slowly work her back into it. So when the barn closed, so when I stopped doing lessons, you know, Petra's been ridden since then. So I think my last day of doing lessons was like the 18th or something, maybe 19th. But she was to the point where she'd be ridden for 2 hours straight and be great. Like, she was awesome. Lots of cantering. And so when she comes back into work now, she's going to be, I have to answer, will I personally have another baby? Me? No, we're done having babies. We're done. Maybe that's what you meant, but foals? Yeah, I'll have more foals, but no more babies for me. But anyway, so with Petra, I have to work her very gradually, and it has to be where, like, we do a lot of walking and then we slowly are trotting and there's some breaks in there but no stopping. Like, constant movement is the best thing for her. And you have to gradually build. Like, you might even only be able to canter her for 30 seconds and that's all she can handle for that day. And then the next day maybe you can canter her for a minute, and you kind of have to build, but you have to do it really slowly. So it's very important that she get a really long warm up and a really long cool down. That's one of the most important things. Okay, I'm gonna lose you guys for a moment, but then we're gonna see Miss Kitty. Sorry. There she is. So Miss Kitty's just meandering around my arena. What you doing, girl? Okay, where's Rosie? Hi, Rosie. Miss Kitty's just hanging out, standing in the doorway. So I just kind of let them wander around in here. They can go over and they can eat hay. Yes, Petra does get vitamin E supplement. Petra gets vitamin E. I think she's getting 5,000 IU a day. I think that's what the doses that she's getting is. So I'm going to open up my back doors here, and I think the horses will kind of meander back here so it's easier to see Miss Kitty and Rosie. They like to come and hang out by this back door. Yeah, it's a comfortable place for her to hang out. She's just standing in the doorway. She's kind of owns the place right now. Here comes Rosie. Okay. Rosie has meandered out the back door, and she's on the other side of the poop pile. Sorry, I'm trying to see questions here, but I'm going to turn this around. There. Rosie, you can come back up here. She's like, no, I'm gonna stand in the manure pile. Yeah, the poop pile is pretty big after the winter. And all the horses are looking, they're like, what is that thing walking around in the poop pile? Rosie is 8, I believe. She's 7 or 8. She's pretty young. Thank you. I think Rosie's pretty darn cute. Gosh, imagine that color in a bigger horse. Yep, the poop pile it composts. So I've got piles all over in my pastures and such. We get in there with some equipment and we pile it all up, let it compost, and then we just give it away. Miss Kitty's doing okay. She's standing, you can't really see her right now, but she's standing right in the doorway down there. No idea why. That's just her place that she wants to stand right now. So you see all the horses on alert. They're like, what is that? Who is that over there? Rosie's color is considered a silver dapple grullia, I believe. Right now she's playing with a fly trap that got left there in the fall. And it's gross. She's actually chewing on it. And if that thing breaks open, it's going to be so stinky. Like if she gets full of that liquid that's in there, she's going to smell terrible. Rosie was started when I got her. I got her, she was 4 when I got her, and my friend Amy had her, and she gave her to us. Amy has 10 kids, so she had, Rosie was worked by some of her younger kids, did quite a bit with her, and got her going in a cart and stuff, so they did all that with her initially. And so she had been ridden, you know, nothing too fancy, but so she had a really nice start. And we're getting to pretty soon, I'll be able to take and put horses in this area after the snow is gone and I fix some stuff. I put this fence up in the fall, but you can see how much snow we have yet, but I've got a significant fence out here. My round pen's over there. So this will be a nice spot. That'll be a nice spot for Miss Kitty. That was my plan with her, was to put her over there because that area will have a lot of grass. We don't get grass in our pastures because the horses eat everything down. Miss Kitty and Rosie are friends. I mean, Miss Kitty doesn't really like many other horses. She tolerates them, but she doesn't necessarily want to hang out with anybody. Miss Kitty's best buddy was my gelding Poco, and since Poco died, Miss Kitty's not really, Miss Kitty really hasn't found any other horses that she really likes, because Poco was kind of her best buddy. So Bear loves Miss Kitty, but she doesn't really, she tolerates him, but she doesn't really care for him a whole lot. So I'll go get her and bring her out here so you guys can see her. She's just standing in the doorway still. She moved about 3 feet. Is she eating okay? Well, Miss Kitty has now gone to where she won't eat any grain, but she's eating hay, a lot of hay, which is good. It's really good. I would like it more if it came, but you know what? She's got to do what's best for her. She can. Yeah, I can tell because the lid's off of it. All right, I'm just going to throw a lead rope around her neck. Oh. Come on, sweetheart. Miss Kitty does not appear to be in pain, no. I mean, she looks like she's content. I'll take her out back so you can see. Come on, girl. like, now I'll just stand here. So there's a lot of just like her just hanging out. This is what she does though. She just kind of stands around. She'll mosey over and she'll eat, and then she'll just take a little nap, and then she'll eat a little more. Yep, she's not in any hurry to go anywhere. But see her ears up? She's content right now. All right, well guys, I am going to, if I missed out on any questions, you can go ahead and leave that in the comment section below after the video has processed. She sees Rosie wandering around behind the arena. Yeah, she's comfortable. She would not have that look on her face if she wasn't comfortable, okay? But what you're seeing here is just a little old lady who, you know, is just going through some troubles. And so yeah, I'll keep you all posted. But it's been a few days. She hasn't had to have any meds. She's still on her omeprazole, however you say that, and sucralfate, and she'll stay on that for a while. So, all right, guys, we'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.